let me just check who else we have on the line at present. We are taking messages. People are sending us messages and questions and comments that we are going to be discussing at a later stage. But we also have in our midst a lawyer. He's an entertainment lawyer, but also he is Mr. Mtsamai. Can you?
Yes, ma'am, I'm here. Hi. Greetings, everybody.
Mr. Mtsamai? Hi, sir. How are you?
Yes, I'm here, ma'am. I am okay. How are
How
you
are
and
you?
how is everybody?
I think there is a delay.
Yeah.
We are good, thanks. We are really good. Good to connect again. We are all surviving under the circumstances. I just want to. We've been listening to some of the things that have been said, and the I want to reiterate where I started. I said, as gospel musicians, as artists, we are not experiencing the same. We are also not in similar circumstances. Some people are thriving in these circumstances because some have municipalities that have provided for them, or provincial governments, or they themselves, they are able to do certain things that are making them to be able to earn an income. But some are struggling. Some, like Ayanda Shange, have this mentality, eti, even if I apply, if I point, I just want your take first before you even speak as the gospel, as a member of the Gospel Foundation. Just as more, they can't pirate music online, and now we are told it is happening online. What is the story here?
Yeah, no, thanks, Mom Zanele. Thank you so much, and greetings to everybody. Hey, it's a very tricky one. Tricky in the sense that digital is the present. That's how music is consumed, man, in the digital platforms. But be that as it may, there is also huge piracy in digital, and I think from where I'm standing, and this is what I always say when this question is posed to me, to say, mhlampe okunye engingasiza is that artists themselves need to educate their fans, their supporters, to say, guys, and you are not helping us when you download our music through our WhatsApp, because at the end of the day, distributing music the way you are distributing it, we are not adding any value because we are unable to then go to the studio to give you another product. So I think I'm lucky that I work with different genres, and as much as I work with a couple of artists in the gospel space, but I also work with a couple of artists also outside of the gospel space. And what I've seen is that what assists them, what they do, which we're not doing, is that they take it upon themselves to educate their fan base about the digital platforms, number one, and secondly, about how you go about making sure that you support them in the digital space, but do it in a manner that is not piracy. But having said that, it's not easy in the sense that we all know that streams for them to start making sense, it has to be a lot of streams. Like we have to stream the music continuously. So I'm now flipping the coin to say, what is it that make people with piracy? And the reality of the matter is that continuous streaming entails data. It entails, and we know the situation in our country, and we know the challenges around that. So it's a bit of a tricky one, because whilst we can spend hours and hours saying to artists, please, I encourage your supporters about stream music when bangau piracy. At the same time, hey, cinema challenges in terms of affording data and all that comes with.
Okay. So you are suggesting that the best way to go around that is for us as the gospel music industry, and for the artist in particular, to to teach, to educate the fan base so that they understand. Because sometimes people thought ngiyamthanda awuthi ngilalela umculo wakhe ku-WhatsApp kanti useyambulala and ubengaqondile ubecabanga ukuthi kusayipart of the support. That's what you are saying.
Precise.
You want to say something?
Hit it on the name. So Ayanda, when you go, sorry, ma'am, just on that point, Ayanda, when you go to that podium before you sing, get your fans to pull up their phones there and there. Tell them that says, guys, go to this particular platform, subscribe, and from now onward, consume my music from here. This is how you support me. Because abanye, honestly, they don't know. For instance, people think the best way to consume music digitally is YouTube. And what they don't know is that there is other platforms apart from YouTube, your Spotify, your Apple Music, your Deezer, where music can be consumed, which is slightly better commercial value than you can in YouTube. But if we don't take it upon ourselves as artists to educate our fan base and assume that everyone knows, we might be missing it there.
Wow.
As I've said earlier on, before the two artists respond, it's a pity that we have lost Bishop Solly Mahlangu. I think it's because of the connection. They're trying to link Ubaba Sipho Makhabane, who wants to join the conversation as well. We're looking for, let's get the questions. Let's get the questions from the gospel sector. I've got two people here. They both saying we did not apply. Now, this one is big for me because it's the perception sometimes. Ayanda Shanga said, what's the point of applying? Because there's going to be too many of us, and if you don't know anybody there, you are not going to be allocated the funds. I don't really buy that, Ayanda. I have to be honest with you. I wish you had applied. Sorry?
We do, Mama, but Mama, the truth is, so that izolunga. Unlike when you just apply online, Kudala ngi-apply into ye-live stream and vele sengi-apply angaze ngiphendulwe. I think sengiperforme ka-4 kwi-Facebook page yami, but akaze kwenzeke lutho. That is where ke sengiphele amandla, because mengibuka no government abanye uyabalanda to come and perform kuma live streams wabo. So that is where asingazi khona ukuthi kwenziwa kanjani ukuze nawe uzibone sewubiziwe and come and be part of your live stream of praise and worship.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. No, I get this. Mtamai, can I just go back to you? Maybe you can give clarity to this.
Yes.
In the meantime, I'm hoping that they are linking Zama and the team behind. I'm hoping that you are linking Uro, also linking Sipho Makhabane to join us. So I'm hoping that is being done as we continue, because we have lost Solly Mahlangu, unfortunately. Ntamai, tell me, it's well and good. I'm loving the fact that gospel artists are very creative. You see day by day. We also did it on the Crown page, on the Crown Gospel Music page. Just before Easter, we went live with different artists. I see artists going live on their Facebook pages, lockdown worship, this lockdown worship, which is beautiful. It's beautiful for me as a marketer because, one, you are keeping the brand alive in the eyes and in the minds of the people, okay? So people will not forget you. But is there a way, in a way, that you monetize it so that it doesn't just end up being you in your corner wearing pajamas and singing? Also, are there any dangers of doing this? Let me tell you what my reservations are. I'm not sure about the monetizing aspect of it, but my reservations are not all of us as artists are used to singing alone without proper band and all the whistles and stuff. So when you are singing a cappella, you khona i-danger yana yokuzi-expose engiyisabayo. I don't know if you understand me. Is it all good? Can we all just go take a phone and start singing for an hour when I am so used to singing a studio with the full band and everyone else that makes me look and sound good? Is there danger there?
It's a very interesting question. Actually, I wish that question was for Ayanda, because Ayanda ngiyamazi uyahlanya stage unalama dance akhe yedwa nje. Ngiyafisa ukwazi ukuthi uma eyivalele uyakwenza yini yedwa, ebukelwa umfazi wakhe kuphela. But then let me start with the last one. In my experience of watching some of these live streams, I've picked exactly what you're talking about. I have picked that it does be a challenge for artists when they're used to a particular scenery to now find themselves in a particular scenery. For instance, there's artists that are used to backtrack. They've used backtrack most of the time, and they're comfortable. They know when to come in and try and make it as live as possible, even though it's a backtrack. But there's artists really who don't use backtrack, who rarely use backtrack. Now you put them in a situation where they must now use backtrack. They run badlulela ama-backing vocalists, and it does put them in a and you can't blame them. That's their energy. That's how they thrive. You know, they now you try and catch them. They must be careful. Bangaphakami la because ama-backing vocalists akaphakami. It becomes a challenge. Then you also find a type of artists who really, like you correctly put it, ma'am, thrive with a receptive crowd. You know, the crowd must receive me. The crowd must sing along. The crowd must be able to catch the fire. The crowd must be able to give me the that particular energy that I need. There is no crowd, but at best it's your wife and your children, and it does become a challenge. Also find another group which has challenges in terms of ukudlala a particular instrument like a keyboard. And I found those struggling even more because I have, in the few that I've seen Lama live streams, I found those abakwazi ukudlala have a far better advantage. It's not an advantage in the sense that you don't have your 5 sets, but an advantage in the sense that you can interact better with the audience. Where you want to stop, you stop. Where you want to go up, you go up, and it's a little bit better. So you can imagine then if you find yourself handicapped in all of these areas that I've mentioned, it becomes a disaster. It becomes a disaster. And I mean, the artists in this group might be able to shed even more, but that's what I've picked. But again, that you spoke about monetizing. And I really would like to hear the artist in this talking about this, because it's quite interesting. I mean, I'm sharing what I see from a consuming perspective, and you guys can, for example, Ayanda ngiyafisa ukwazi ufoma kanjani uwedwa when there's no one, shouting or screaming on the other side. Really, I'll wait to hear that. But when it comes to the monetizing part, quite interesting. Just before I joined this, I read on Facebook and on the Samro portal, and you guys can check it for yourself. That book, in particular, Facebook has taken a decision that they will now monetize Wema live streams to try and cover artists for this corona situation. So I encourage everybody, every artist who is here, every artist who is listening to this, go to Facebook, or even easier, go to the Samro handles, follow that story. I unfortunately didn't have an opportunity to go deep into it because, as I say, it was just before I joined this. So the idea then is to